Stream happy Saturday. We've got a fun one today, boys. It's time to destroy my vocal cords. And hi, hello, and welcome in. Hope you're all having a fantastic weekend up until now. Happy 4th of July weekend, everyone. I hope spent the holiday well. If you live in the US, if you live elsewhere, my bad. Shouldn't have brought it up. But yeah, 4th of July was great for me and my family. We actually chose not to go see the fireworks this year because very recently we went to a baseball game and they had fireworks there, and the fireworks there were very, very good, very well presented. And we kind of had gotten that magic from that experience, and we were all very tired from the festivities yesterday. We were all very tired from the dinner that we had yesterday, a fantastic dinner. We went to a steakhouse, and so we didn't go see the fireworks. Instead, we just spent the day, spent the evening chilling within our home. Me and my brother played some Trails Through Daybreak. My brother is currently playing through Trails Through Daybreak. He just started it, so that is very exciting. And my parents want some TV. But yeah, so what do we have planned for today? Well, as everyone in my imaginary audience and the few in real life viewers that I have um, know, as all of you know, that after every significant story patch that we play in Star Rail, and not just Star Rail, in any game that we do big story block streams like this, we do a recap stream after where we kind of go through, we talk about what happened, what I liked. In some cases, we do talk about what I didn't like, but that's rare because I pretty much like everything. And we basically just go through, we do a little bit of recap as well. We maybe do a little bit of theorizing. It's a fun time. It's always a good time. It allows us to kind of like chill and decompress after going through the highs and lows of each story patch in Star Rail. And man, did we have some highs and some lows in this recent story patch? A lot of lows, and by lows I don't mean like negative writing. I mean like depressing writing, like sad writing. Still very, very good writing, but man, was it rough to go through that story patch and not feel just immense amount of negative emotion. But yeah, so that's what we have planned for today. But it isn't just that. So typically when we do this, it's we just talk about the story. But I have been made aware that there were a few things that I missed from last stream. We have a kind of like a mini epilogue of sorts with Cyrene that comes right after you finish the story in ID's Elysiae. So we're gonna have a good time with that. But also more importantly than that is the fact that I missed another similar epilogue, but from 3.3, where apparently, if you went to the Herta space station after 3.3, there was a few conversations with Welt, Sunday, Screwlum, Herta, and Black Swan that would lead into 3.4. And I foolishly said, "Oh, that's really, really cool. Let me go do that really quick," a few days ago, without realizing, well, shit, I probably should save that for a stream. So, what we're going to do is we're going to open those conversations in YouTube and watch through them. I promise you that this is the first time I'm seeing them. When I realized that I probably should have saved those conversations or those that dialogue for the stream, I just very quickly looked away. I did this, and I just clicked through everything that was in the Herta space station on my account, so that way I could watch it for the first time live on stream with you all. But unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do it in game because I did, like I said, I clicked through everything. But so we're gonna do that. Then after that, we're going to do the Cyrene 3.4 epilogue. And then after that, we're going to react to what is seemingly another animated Phainon trailer, which is crazy. I mean, how many does he have now? He has like four, right? Well, if you count the Myriad Celestia, the Myriad Celestia isn't necessarily just Phainon's trailer. He is a big focus of it, of course, but it is the Lord Ravagers as a whole. So, but yeah, he's gotten a lot of attention, rightfully so. He is one of Star Rail's best character, arguably its best character from an objective perspective. So, really, really cool stuff. So we're gonna do those three things. We're gonna do the 3.3 kind of epilogue conversations at the Herta space station. We're going to do the 3.4 Cyrene epilogue and Ides Elysiae. That I haven't done yet. That we're going to be able to do in game, and then after that, we'll go back to YouTube to watch the new trailer, and then we will start our story recap from there. So it's going to be a bit of a longer story recap stream. Going to be probably closer to 2 hours or so, and that's going to be rough for me because, as I've mentioned before, each time I do one of these streams, it's always a murder on my throat because I end up talking so much. And that's my own fault. That is my own fault. I get way too passionate, way too excited, way too into these conversations with my imaginary audience and my stream. And I just start rambling. I just start talking. And I just like, by the end of the stream, I'm just like, I can't talk anymore, bro. My vocal cords are shot. So, but yeah, so we'll try to keep it as short as possible. One thing that does help is that the story patch this time was a bit shorter than usual in Inforia's. Most of the Inforia story patches have averaged around 8 hours. This one was about 5. I know we did it in 6, but that's just because I took my sweet time with everything. I searched for every little bit of dialogue, right? In general, I feel like the story patch was anywhere from 5 to 5.5 hours. So, bit of a shorter patch. And also, we've started approaching these story recap streams in a different way. Last time in 3.3, I decided to try a new format. What we used to do was we used to go through the entire story chronologically and talk about every bit chronologically. But that was becoming way, way, way too hard. It was the recap streams were becoming way too long. I think there was one we had that was like 3.5 hours or 3 hours, and even then we cut it short. That's too much. I don't really want to. I want this to be more of a discussion, less of a recap. I do want it to be a little bit recappy, but I want it to be more just talking about what happened, enjoying ourselves. So now what we do is what we did in 3.3. We did it for the first time in 3.3, and we're going to be doing it going forward. I like this format better. So now what we do is we just pull up um, the kind of the whole story, and we just kind of start talking. We just kind of start talking. In my head, I already have the kind of like main talking points that I want to address, and so we kind of go through each one. We don't get to everything, unfortunately, but there are other people out there who might prioritize things differently than I do, and you can always go back, watch the actual story reaction stream, and kind of see my reaction there, of course. So, but yeah, so it's gonna be a bit of a longer story discussion stream for the sole reason that obviously we're gonna be adding more things on top of it. We've got the 2 epilogues and the trailer. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to pull up the video on YouTube. You know what? Might as well pull up all 3 things that we're gonna do before we jump into the story recap stream. So let me do that really quick. So the first thing we're doing, like I said, is we're going to do that 3.3 epilogue that I stupidly missed. What do I even search for on YouTube? Like Honkai Star Rail 3.3, maybe epilogue? Maybe just that? Okay, well, I don't need you to autocorrect me, YouTube. Um, this look okay. No, that's not it. No. Oh, here we go. There we go. And now we're gonna go grab. You know what? Might as well grab the full 3.4 story quest for later. Because I believe CG Inferno kept all the Cyrene stuff at the end. Here we go. Okay, perfect. And now we're gonna grab Phainon's new trailer, and that should be everything that we need. A Moment Among the Stars, Destiny of Each Dawn. It's a pretty short trailer. It's barely over a minute long. So I'm kind of interested to see what this trailer actually is. If I were to guess, I'm guessing it's the moment he like fuses with Iron Tomb? I don't know. We'll see. Also, once again, I've got my respect the beard mug. This time we're having some tea, not some coffee. I don't need the extra energy today because I woke up quite late. Far later than I should have woken. I'm not going to say the time because it is honestly a bit embarrassing how late I woke up. But okay, so I've got everything set up now. I think we're going to go switch to this overlay. And so, yeah, this is what I'm. If you were still confused on what I was talking about, there's hidden dialogue basically after 3.3 into her to space station with Sunday Wells and Herda and I believe Screwlum as well. So and Black Swan as well. Um, I don't think she's in every one though. She's in there she is right there. But we're gonna watch each one of these. The only thing that I've seen is I've seen the first few lines of this first bubble. Because this is also the first bubble that I actually clicked. It was the one that referred to Lygus. So I've only seen the first few lines of this bubble right here. So we're gonna go ahead and watch this. Just keep it at 5%. That's good. Yeah, at the time, so we're gonna be watching this from a very interesting perspective. We're gonna be watching this from the perspective that we know how actually um I don't want to say insane, but I guess insane is a good term. But like we know Lygus' true character now. Like even in 3.3, I feel like Lygus presented himself as a bit more sophisticated, a bit more professional, right? A bit more in control and calm and cool, collected. In 3.4, we get to see Lygus' true nature. He still presents himself as, calm, cool, collected, but he is very much like bordering on madness. He's a bit insane. It's almost very cult like. His like devotion is very cult like to the destruction and specifically the scepter and slash Iron Tomb. So we're going to be seeing this from a perspective where the story still wants us to kind of be confused on like who Lygus really is, what type of character he is. So interesting stuff. But yeah, so we know Lygus has been bathed in Noos's gaze, whether or not he is an emanator to be determined. He probably is. Screwlum, what's going on? God, I love Screwlum. He's one of the few characters in the story that I really like trust. Did you actually enter the world of Horus? Okay, so I think this is where I stopped. I don't think I remember like I got to this point in my own personal account when I opened this up and I realized, oh fuck, I should do this on stream. And like I said, I then looked away and I clicked through everything and I did the rest of it all the other bubbles. So now we're going in truly blind. Oh wait, okay, that's a lie. This is the last line. Okay, I remember now. I remember reading this line and I was like, oh fuck, I should do this on stream. So yeah, apparently like Herda like didn't necessarily quite enter Amphorius, but rather like entered like I would say like almost a limbo Amphorius. Like there's like the Amphorius simulation, but then there's like the entrance to Amphorius, and like the entrance to Amphorius is like part of some sort of barrier that Lygus has set up. I'm not sure. Damn, really? So Lygus might be even greater than an emanator of some kind. Oh, a firewall is a good way to describe it. Yeah, that's a much more sophisticated way from to describe it than what I just said. Okay. Oh, but didn't in 3.4 it was revealed that time in Amphorius is mostly being governed by Fuli, right? And Cyrene. Or maybe Lygus also has a certain control over time. Yeah, we saw the Memoria traces from the Flame Reaver and us as well. That is true. I guess through this, Sunday and Wells were able to confirm that Don Hung and the Trailblazer were okay. Alright, so what is this bubble going to be? Oh, Lord Ravager. Okay. Which we now know is Iron Tomb. Hi, Black Swan. You look amazing as always. Yeah, and we're trying to prevent triggering the rage of the Lord Ravager. Yeah, so like this is really interesting. I love that they picked Iron Tomb as the Lord Ravager to center around an Amphorius, and I love the direction they took with Amphorius, like the simulation, the Emperor's Scepter. It's all, I think, fantastic choice of story direction. Because I think with Lord Ravagers like Zephyro and Selenova, I think they're like the end game, right? They're like some of the like Selenova is like the quote unquote the right hand man of the Nanook. She commands the fleet of the Antimatter Legion. Zephyro is the strongest, most aggressive, most violent Lord Ravager. So obviously two very important Lord Ravagers. But the other Lord Ravager, besides Fantilia, that we've always known the name of, like we've known their name, and they've had a presence within the Star Rail community is Iron Tomb. But with Iron Tomb, I think we never truly like had any tangible, physical, like showcase, I guess. I don't know, because we didn't have it for Zephyr and Selenova either. What I'm trying to say is Iron Tomb we knew existed, and they were their name was fairly present within the community, but at the same time he almost felt, or it almost felt like untangible. It almost felt like he had been missing or disappeared for a time, and now it makes sense. Iron Tomb has a presence in the universe of Star Rail because Lygus has been sending out um, aspects of Iron Tomb and its destructive power in simulations across the universe, and the IPC has since designated these destructive occurrences revolving around technology. They've since designated this the work of a Lord Ravager that they've essentially dubbed Iron Tomb. But Iron Tomb is yet to fully form. Iron Tomb is more an idea at the moment. It's more of a concept rather than a full on Lord Ravager. And so we are trying to prevent this concept and idea from materializing. And I think that is really, really cool. I hope we get this same level of attention and dedication to Zephyro and Selenova later. Yeah, it was. Amphorius was at first being presented as like a prison or like a safety box. It's not. It was presented to us as that, but it's because Lygus made us think of it like that. But really, it's more of an incubation chamber, which is terrifying. Three forces of him. Oh wow, more destructive than Chadwick's bombs. Well, I guess yeah. If you've got like Herda, Phainon, like Iron Tomb, Lygus all involved. You guys don't know the half of it. We died. We got brought back to life. Chronocognitive anchor? Is that what Skrillum gave to us at the start of 3.4? I don't remember. I think I'll realize it once he explains it here. I think it is. I'd be surprised if it wasn't. Okay, yeah, it is. Okay. Very interesting. So Screwloom has previously, I mean, he already mentioned he heard. Wow, heard it actually being praised, giving compliments. Oh yeah, Screwloom, just a minor invention, you know. Mm-hmm. Well, let's give it a try, obviously. And this is the last bubble. The Emperor Scepters, okay. Man, I love that they took the narrative and actually touched on an Emperor Scepter and made it a part of the main plot narrative. We are now, that's for damn sure. Yep. That's fucking crazy, dude. The scale of Star Rail's world is insane. I love it so much. Ungovernable erudition weapons. That's a really great way to describe an Emperor Scepter. Well, damn. It's a good thing you did screw them. Wait, what? Isn't self-coronation the title of Phainon's trailer? Hold on. Oh, right there. Okay, no, just kidding. Coronal radiance. My bad. I thought it was. That's crazy, dude. This is kind of similar to Amphorius. Except the Emperor Scepter this time, the one that Screwloom is describing, it's doing it on its own without an operator like Lygus. God damn, that's terrifying. Screwloom to me is like such like this almost untouchable figure. The fact that he like was threatened by this scepter is insane. Two Amber Eras. Holy fuck. Well, to him, that's probably not that long. Yeah, so this is what I think at this point. I'm pretty much fully convinced that Lygus is either Rupert the Third or he's trying to become Rupert the Third. Because Rupert obviously was not a force of destruction. He was a genius. He was a member of the Genius Society who caused immense amount of destruction. And I think Lygus almost admires Rupert the Third, and given that combination with Rupert the Third, Lygus admires Rupert the Second or the original Rupert, and that alongside his like disdain for Noose because of reasons we'll talk about later, I think he is probably trying to become Rupert III or is already Rupert III. Good stuff. I wish I wish I had read that after 3.3 and not now, because I think it would have let me lean more towards to Lygus being Rupert III. Because going into 3.4, I was pretty much fully on board on the fact that Lygus was Iron Tomb, and that Iron Tomb was trying to awaken Phainon as a new Lord Ravager. But rather, it's the case that Lygus is probably related to Rupert in some capacity, and he's trying to awaken Iron Tomb, and Phainon is actually trying to prevent Iron Tomb, even though he likely is going to become or already is a Lord Ravager himself in some way. But yeah, good stuff. Okay, so we can close that. I have CG Inferno's video of, as always, CG Inferno, amazing YouTuber who documents a lot of a lot of JRPG content, including Star Rail story quests. Go subscribe to him. Go check him out. But this is what I'm talking about. Wait, what am I doing? We want to do this. Hold on. We want to do this in our game because I have yet to do this. So I was actually about to just start watching CG Inferno's video for Cyrene's epilogue, but no, we're gonna do it in our own game because I have yet to do that. Because I am 0 IQ today, apparently. Also, I probably didn't need to switch to this overlay, but here we are. Okay. Here we are. And we're still in Ides Elysiae from when I last played the story. I've been teleporting here because I actually think this is a really nice like hub area. This might be where I like actually exit the game and log off every day. But there she is. Look at her. Oh, I have where is the... Okay, let me just go here. No! I missed! Let's go to the missions. Okay, so now we don't want that. We don't want that either. Or that. Or, okay, so this doesn't actually have like a quest associated with it. I think we just probably talked to her, right? But I really like her design. Hi! Are you Cyrene or Mem? I have so many questions. True. Aw, that's actually really cute. The way she like popped up for a second. So it is impossible to restore your memories completely. I'm just gonna say you're Mem. Okay. Wow. Okay. So that might honestly be a good thing if she forgot about the 30 billion cycles. So she probably remembers her original cycle is what I'm guessing. And even though she doesn't remember the 30 million cycles, she acknowledges their existence. She is aware of their existence. So I think that's probably a part of the as I've written thing. God, this place is gorgeous. Okay.
Check it out! Doesn't this scarecrow look just like you? I spent ages observing just to get it right.
Honestly, from a purely objective perspective, obviously not. But considering our personality and behaviors, absolutely. We are such a dumbass slash gremlin, and this captures that perfectly. Also, nice to hear her voice. Hell yeah. Can I interact with it? Yes, I can. Yes, resembling you in both form and spirit. If you're in the mood, call play with her. Okay. I'll do chess later. I always do them all at once. Cyrene, let's go play. What did she say? Are we there yet? Hold on. Oh no, that's a bug. Okay. I'll do that later as well. What the fuck are you? It's a seal. Okay, hold on. I'll come back to that.
Hi, I'm so happy to see you. Are you here to play with me?
Absolutely. God, I love Cyrene so much. Before I ever played 3.0 or anything related to Amphorius, and the only thing we had was the original Amphorius trailer, narrated by Aglaya. The character I was most excited for was Cyrene, because for those of you who don't know, for the longest time, well, not for the longest time, for a decent amount of time, my favorite character from Honkai Impact the Third was Elysia. So nowadays I say it's Kiana. So, but so Elysia being my favorite character for a long time, seeing her finally get a Star Rail XP to me was so exciting. I was so hyped, bro. So I think she, depending on what happens in Amphorius Part 2, I think Cyrene will end up as my favorite Chrysosaur. It's either gonna be her, Phainon, or Mighty. Because Mighty is. Have you read the new As I've Written? No, I haven't. I am planning to do all of As I've Written in a. Actually, the very next stream that I do. So we're not going to be doing it this stream, but the very next time that I hit start streaming, it's going to be As I've Written. And actually, it's not just going to be the new As I've Written. It's going to be all of the old entries as well, because I purposely kept the As I've Written entries unread. So I can't say what I wanted. Is it related to some of the entries, like the cycles? Because I read a little bit of them. It was like, is it related to like Iron Tomb or something like that? I read a little bit of those. Like, hold on. Well, hold on. Let me finish talking with Cyrene and I'll pop it up. Also, welcome in, Stevo. Nice to see you. Saga of the Heroes related. Okay. My bad. My bad. Yeah, the Saga of the Hero stuff I won't. Oh my god, I love her so much. I think Phainon's kit might be the most thematically appropriate kit in the game, right? Like, his teammates buff him, right? Implying like in the story, the rest of the Chrysosaurs help him get to the end. He gets core flames, and then he transforms into this almost demiurge, godlike fallen angel being, and then he's by himself, and he fights bosses by himself, and yet it's like a cycle. So, I also read, I think a Reddit comment that said that, in his enhanced form he gets 8 turns. Apparently that's 8 turns for each of the Chrysos heirs that he interacted with in his journey, which I think is also pretty cool. But yeah, Phainon's kit is fucking awesome. It is just, the animations are gorgeous, and I think it's thematically well designed. Gameplay wise, I think it flows pretty well. I think some people would like it to be a little bit more OP, but it's not. But that's fine. I very rarely care about how good a character is if I'm going to summon for them. It's almost always to me, if I like the character, if I like the design, if they're good within the story. Yeah, I saw that too, that his E6 basically lets him get an quote unquote infinite number of core flames, but it's not really infinite. It's equal to the number of core flames that he would have if he had gone through all 33,550,336 cycles. That is really, really cool. But unfortunately, as much as I would like to summon for his E6, I am not that well off. I am well off. I've said this many times before. I can spend money on Star Rail, and for the most part, it is something that I can afford comfortably. But certainly not E6. So, look at her. She's so... I love Cyrene. She definitely is similar to Elysia, but also different in certain ways that I think makes her unique. Well, that's a good way to say it. Yeah, he's probably been the most tempting to max out on an emotional and human scale. So I think I think the best way to describe it is that Phainon so far, to me personally, has been the most narratively impactful character. I don't think any character has had as much of a narrative impact on just the their own planet story, like in Forest, but also the higher overall Star Rail story, right? There have been characters that I think are as popular or more popular than Phainon, right? I think um my favorite character, Firefly, is more popular. Kafka is more popular. Um Hung is probably more popular. Overall, at the moment, Phainon is obviously like the star of the show. But there are other characters that are as popular as Phainon, right? Akron, I can't believe I forgot her. Um, but in terms of narrative impact, if you isolate that core element of their character, I think Pheinon's number one. So, and he's also, I think, eventually gonna end up being the most popular male character. If I wasn't saving for Cyrena, you'd get. Yeah, I've been tempted to go for Ichu, but like you said, Steve-O, there's so many characters to save for. I'm summoning for Hysilens and Saridra. So, and obviously Cyrene is a must summon. She's probably the biggest must summon of this game for me besides Firefly. So, but yeah, so Hysilens, Saber, I'm getting Saber as well. Saridra, Cyrene eventually. Hopefully Cyrene's later so I can save for her. But yeah, there's a lot to summon for. So as tempting as Ichu S1 Phainon is, I don't think we're gonna go for it.
Round and round.
Oh, this is so cute.
So slow. Oh, so slow. So slow that it's like even time it.
Okay, that was cut off a bit early. God, I love it. It almost feels like I'm hanging out with like my sister. Like this like almost like this friend that I just have unconditional love and care for. Also nice. Let's grab that. Also the fact that he's a hero that'll never be known to the cosmos. Yeah, I think a big part of what makes Phainon so compelling at the moment, because so you say that, I do think Phainon eventually is going to be very important in the future. I think he's going to make his name known to the overall Star Rail universe. But for now, he went through so much suffering and despair and pain and emotional torture, and very few people know about it. Very few people know about it. He still suffered it all and took it all upon himself, and did so out of the goodness of his heart and his heroic spirit. It's really, really great stuff. Steve-O, yes! Forgetting Akron is very fitting. Oh my god, I actually didn't even make that connection. My bad, Akron. You know, let's see, which characters would I say? Isn't there like is it in the archive? Which characters would I say are as popular as Phainon or more popular? Is it maybe the data bank? Here we go. Okay, so obviously the Trailblazer, because he's the main character. Kafka, yes. Kafka's probably more popular than Phainon. Not at the moment, just in general. Aventrine is close. He's pretty close. But I think Phainon is going to be more popular overall. Akron, yeah, I think Akron is probably as popular as Phainon is. Robin is interesting. Robin's really popular, and if you add in her music, like her songs and the influence those songs have, you could argue she's the most popular character in Star Rail. But as a character herself, I don't think she's as close to Phainon as as you might think. She's still insanely popular though. But I think if you just focus on her character and not like Chevy and like the song portion of who she is, I don't think she is as popular as Phainon. Firefly is probably the most popular character in the game. I know I'm very biased towards Firefly, like that's her sword in the background hanging in my wall, but let's be real, she is the reason she got the there's a reason she got the very first skin in this game. So, Sunday again, also immensely popular. Um I would argue that the three most popular male characters in this game are Sunday, Dunhung, and Phainon at the moment, with Aventurian sitting right outside the top three. So yeah, Sunday absolutely. He was a main antagonist, and he is also potentially the very first Astral Express member to join. So Castris, I don't think it's as popular as Phainon, but she's close. Dunhung, obviously, is as popular as Phainon because he's one of the main characters. Same thing with March. Did we skip March? No. Herda might be close. Herda's pretty popular as well, but I don't think she's quite on Phainon's level. Silverwolf and Blade and Jingvan are pretty popular characters as well, but again, I don't think they're quite as hyped as Phainon is. And none of these characters, I think. Where's March? Just completely skip. Okay, there she is. Think Phainon will be one of the main team for the final fight against another. Yes, actually, Steve-O, I fully agree with you. So a big part of Star Rail has been basically we have been traveling the cosmos as the Trailblaze, right? I forget the four, but it's like understand, connect, like basically you go to planets and different worlds and you immerse yourself in those planets, you interact, and you make that experience a part of yourself and your core tenets and beliefs. That's what makes the Trailblaze so interesting and so powerful, right? And then I think on top of that, there's this almost sub-element to the Star Rail narrative that's, hey, Kafka has told us we are going to eventually fight Nanook. We are going to be going to war against Nanook. So as we are trailblazing, we are also gathering allies and friends and forces that will eventually be at our side in that final war. And so if you pay attention to, most of the planets so far, we always gain something, right? It isn't just the Trailblazer gaining the powers from each of the paths, right? And Belobog is probably the least thing that we gain, but obviously we have their technology. But in the Xianzhou, right? The whole reason we went to the Xianzhou was because the Celeron hunters manipulated us to go to the Xianzhou so that we could play a part in helping them so that they would help us later. So we have the Xianzhou's power, which is immense power. And then in Penacony, I think the biggest thing we gain is Akron's, trust and, her allegiance. Like, she is an emanator of nihility. That is crazy. Like, she is probably the person who's going to fight against Zephyro at the end. So we gain Akron's allegiance and trust, but also we get a 5% share in Penacony. We get immense amount of resources, and we also make a lot of connections, right? So we get that from Penacony. I think in Enforius, the way you said it, Steve-O, I think the main thing that we're going to get from Enforius is Phainon. I think Phainon's going to eventually ascend to a Lord Ravager if he hasn't ascended already. He's going to be an emanator level threat, and he's going to be on our side, and he's going to fight against the destruction at the end. So, Hollowed Sage, welcome in. Thank you so much for hopping in here with us. Interesting discussion. If we let this Kasana disappear to rest or save him from Iron Tomb, and he's still suffering for the rest of his life, it's just a hard choice in the end. I hope it's addressed during the rest of Part 2. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. What Phainon do we get at the end of Enforius, right? Do we get the Phainon that we know and love, who has essentially merged his consciousness with Kaslana, right? Because Kaslana is currently the Phainon that we know and love. And he has currently been assimilated into Iron Tomb. So are we going to save Kaslana? Are we going to save the Phainon that we know? Or is the Phainon that's going to end up at the end of M4 is going to be this final cycle's final. Because we are now in the final cycle. There's no more do-overs after this. This is it, right? And there is going to be a Phainon in this cycle. So there's like two different Phainons. There's Kasana, and Kasana currently is the Phainon that we know and love. And then there's this new Phainon that we have yet to meet. Who is it going to be? Who knows? It's going to be interesting. And like you said, I hope it gets addressed. Steve-O, Elio puppeteering events so that we win against the Nook. I'm of the theory that Elio is puppeteering events, but I'm not quite sure if he necessarily wants us to win against the Nook. I think there is going to be something greater at the end of Star Rail, and I think Elio is definitely manipulating events in Star Rail to lead to that final event, but I'm not quite sure it's actually just total victory against the Nook and his forces. I think we will win. I just don't think that's the end of Star Rail. So, okay, let's play a bit more with Cyrene. Oh, wait, is that it? Oh, I want to play with her more. Maybe if we talk to the seal. Oh my.
They're just too cute.
Oh my god, I love you so much. Oh, she's like a perfect Star Rail version of Alicia. God, they're really gonna. You better be alive by the end of Emporius. I'm gonna rage so hard if Cyrene dies. Yeah, let's bring out our seal. I forgot its name. Sorry, I need to mute my mic as I drink. I always forget about that. Also, Kaslana has given us that name. Imagine what's reaction if we call ourselves Kaslana. That'd be pretty cool, actually, if we finally like take on a last name and it's Kaslana. That'd be really funny. But like, imagine we finally reunite with Welt, Sunday, and Himiko, right? They like come down to Emporius with Don Hung in tow, and they're just like, "Hey, how's it going?" And we're just like, "Good, you know, yeah, nice to see you guys again. By the way, I'm going by Kalis Kaslana now, or Stel Kaslana." And Welt's eyes just fucking go wide. He's just like, "Excuse me, what did you say?" He's like, "Could you explain?" That'd be really funny. I think Phainon's real name reveal was well done. I think it was well done. Even if it doesn't have a lot of narrative connection, I think it allowed us to separate Kaslana and Phainon, and I think it also invested our focus in the story of 3.4 at the time. Okay, this is a Hollow Sage. Fans have already thought about what all the Crisis Air simulated paths are. Phainon's destruction and Naka's. Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah, 1000%. I fully believe this is true. I think each of the Crisis Airs is supposed to mirror. So not just the Crisis Airs, but the Titans themselves. The Titans in the Crisis Airs and these like separate like authorities that they rule over are supposed to mirror paths that are in Star Rail. Yeah, Cypher, obviously Elation. Jerbios could be Trailblaze. It could also be just us, because we're technically, you know, a demigod. Aglaya is Beauty, Sarida, Order, Harmony, Iceland's Veracity, etc., 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 right? So, yeah, I fully believe that. It's probably something that we'll get a lot more as we go into 3.5, and also once I finally read As I've Written. I've got a lot of content within As I've Written that I've been saving for a specific stream. That stream is going to be next time, so it'll be finally time to kind of immerse ourselves in all this side content that they've prepared for us. Okay. Is there other... Maybe I should go... Oh, what the fuck? Hi! Must be nice. No duties to fulfill, no burdens to bear. Okay. Meanwhile, Phainon is just suffering for 33 million plus cycles. Phainon's like, I wish I could be a Chimera. Let's talk to Pythias. Hello. Ooh. Okay. Let's do her regular dialogue first. Yeah, we are more than a friend of Phainon. Okay, so elementary, middle school, high school. At least that's the way it is in the US. With 3 or more updates, surely we'll get more info to the database. Oh, 1000%. And also, I think we're just gonna address it directly in the story. I think the main way in Amphorius Part 2 that the Chrysos heirs in this new cycle is gonna connect more to the paths is through Welt, Himiko, and Sunday. They're gonna come in, they're gonna be like, hey, how's it going? And oh, nice to meet all your new friends. And here's the situation, and here's all the paths that you mirror. It's not gonna be that direct, obviously, but I think it's gonna be something similar. According to SU expansion, some scepters are capable of straight up creating planets, so I can see the endgame of Amphorius being manipulating scepter to create physical Amphorius and then destroying it. Well, yes, that is true, but a big reason why scepters are capable of straight up creating planets, quote unquote creating planets, is because scepters are essentially life-sized planetary supercomputers. That's what they are. They are huge, and they basically are planets in of themselves, and they simulate creation and existence and life within their planetary structure. But yeah, I think the end game of Amphorius is going to be basically manipulating, not us manipulating the scepter. I think it's going to be basically, it's going to be 2 things. I think it's going to be us and Cyrene and the rest of the Ashel Express and the rest of the Chrysos heirs trying to prevent the scepter, who is Iron Tomb, by the way. So Iron Tomb is the scepter. So we're going to be basically trying to combat Iron Tomb from the outside and within, all the while Kaslana / Phainon is basically holding back Iron Tomb because he assimilated into Iron Tomb. So it's going to be like almost a true pronged war against Iron Tomb. Us and everyone else and Phainon / Kaslana fighting Iron Tomb from inside it. It's going to be cool stuff. I'm not. That's just a theory, by the way, Steve-O. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. But hopefully we're able to win, and we're able to then, recreate Amphorius, bring it into reality, and give the rest of the Chrysos heirs real, tangible life. And we've proven it's possible. Phainon was able to become real. So we'll see if that ends up being the case. I really don't think they're going to introduce all of the Chrysos heirs and just immediately just say, okay, you're no longer going to have any presence for the rest of the Star Rail story. That to me would be lazy writing. I actually wondered if some of these Chrysos heirs have been gazed at by eons, but due to the cycles, they would have forgotten about being gazed on. Well, that's an interesting theory. I think maybe for some of the more important Chrysos heirs, that might be the case. Like maybe like Saridra. Like I could see Saridra being someone who actually got the gaze of an eon. But you have to remember that getting the gaze of an eon almost always means that you then become an emanator. And emanators are just immensely powerful beings in Star Rail. If a Chrysos heir was an emanator, I think Lygus would intervene directly. And so the fact that he hasn't, and that no one knows about Lycus's true identity besides Phainon and Cyrene within the Chrysos heirs, maybe Saridra, we don't know yet, obviously. I think most of them are just still demigods, or, going to become demigods. All right, now let's take a look at Phainon. Ooh,
Talk with
wrong
their
one.
parents.
What is this Phainon memory? Oh, what the? Bro, you can't do this to me, man. Oh my god. They're just taking the knife in my heart and driving it in. They're just driving it in even further. Might as well pour salt on the wound at this point. Jesus Christ. Okay, Star Rail. I'm just thinking back to that scene where Phainon, Castoris, and not Hyacinth and Hyacinth are about to, I think, graduate. I think, and they're like talking about like their dreams and their goals in the future. And Castoris is like giggling, and Phainon being 0 IQ. Oh man, can we go back to those times, simpler times? I'll keep that in mind. Oh, nice. I'll take the jades. Oh yeah, I a lot of people have said, Hollowed Sage, that they don't think Phainon is an Emanator of Destruction yet or a Lord Ravager. I can see why they say that, certainly, because we have gotten no direct confirmation that Phainon could be, you know, someone who is on that level. But I think one of the most important things to consider is the fact that Nanook straight up fucking gave Phainon his entire attention for a significant period of time. Even if Phainon isn't an Emanator or a Lord Ravager directly, he is at the very least on that level. Through, you know, his just own Pathstrider power. So, and yeah, the fact that Phainon was able to damage Nanook, certainly must have drawn Nanook's interest. And in the animated short, you can even see Nanook, like his eyes almost narrow slightly, like to suggest that his interest has been piqued. So, okay. Oh. Firefly, let's not destroy Ides Elysiae. It's already been destroyed once. Well, if I talk to... Oh my god. Jesus fucking Christ. If I... Every single one of these NPCs is gonna have... Oh, this is gonna be painful. Is there anything else of Cyrene? I don't think so. So what we have left is... basically Phainon's memory of all these NPCs. Okay, nothing here. Oh, investigate. What is this? Oh, a Dromus? That's a Dromus sound effect, isn't it? Oh, hello. Hi, how's it going? No. Get tough. Let's score up. Oh, thank God. Okay, I was gonna be kind of sad if that was all the Cyrene we got.
Can I hold on to you? The Tromus won't suddenly jump up and fling me off, will it?
Oh, I love it. Oh my God. No, bro. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. I am an Alicia superfan. You cannot make me bond like this with Cyrene and not expect my emotions to just erupt. It really does feel like I'm just spending time with my little sister. This is such a cute shot. So we went somewhere now. Now we're back in Heidi's this guy. Okay, so now that I know that there might be other smaller events of Cyrene around, I want to find those, and then we'll do the Phainon stuff. Okay, this I think leads out to the village. Yeah, I don't think there's anything there. Maybe there's something here with Cyrene? Doesn't look like it. I would anticipate there being like a question mark. Yeah, we know this is Ornyx's statue. Oh, yeah. Piso was the boy, right? And Livia was the girl. I think that's correct. Okay, you also have part of Phainon's memory. If there isn't a Cyrene scene at the docks, I'm gonna be disappointed. Hi, Livia. I'm so glad you're okay. Please do not turn into a corrupted ether monster. Just stay young and innocent, please. Hi, Garment Maker. How's it going? Honestly, the Lord Ravager teaser basically teased that Anouk was waiting for either Iron Tomb or Phainon, but even that is left for debate. Yes, I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think we basically have a contest of which Lord Ravager is going to ascend. Is it Iron Tomb, which Lygus wants, or is it Phainon, which obviously Phainon ascending would be good for us because I think Phainon would be a Lord Ravager dedicated to destruction of the destruction itself. So, I mean, that's all but been confirmed at this point. All that's really left is basically officially assigning Kaslana / Phainon the title of Lord Ravager. I would be shocked if that doesn't happen by the end of Euphorius. So, Phainon's memory means that we just are Phainon now. Yes, that is true. And we don't even know this Phainon. Once we meet this Phainon, this cycle's Phainon, he should have no memories. He should be like, hey, nice to meet you, and it's going to be very painful. It's going to be like that for all of the Crisis Heirs, I think. Unless we are not starting at the beginning. If we are starting mid-cycle, then obviously he will know who we are. But if we start at the beginning of the cycle, then we still have to meet everyone for the first time. Yeah, Steve-O, I agree. I think they really nailed Cyrene's design. Let's go back to her. Hold on. I think they made her short, and at first I was like, okay, they're taking a different direction with Alicia's XP, right? Because Alicia in Impact the Third, she's pretty tall, but Cyrene. Well, I was like, she's not on the swing. What's going on? But yeah, she feels like more like a little sister. More innocent, yet still very mature and well-rounded as a person. I really like the direction they took with her. That said, I don't think this is going to be her final design when she becomes playable. I think they're going to have a new design. I think this is her quote-unquote NPC design, and when she does become playable, it's going to be different. Whether or not she'll be taller, who knows? Oh, she's asleep. She is so little sister. Look at this. She's so cute. No. Oh my god. This little gremlin.
Gotcha! I'm totally wide awake.
I believe it. I mean, how interesting would it be if Kaslana was Nook's chosen executioner, like Flame Reaver is called in a story? Ah! Hollowed Sage, I actually like that. That is really cool. Wait, I actually kind of want that to happen now. That is pretty, that's actually, that's a nice parallel. I actually kind of really like that. I'll be slightly disappointed if that doesn't happen now. What I wonder for 3.5 is if wider universe took notice of Nanook being wounded. That is an interesting idea. The thing is, I don't think we'll have time. If that is going to be important, I think that's something that'll be addressed in like 4.0 and beyond, or maybe in 3.8, because 3.8 we're gonna go back to Penacony. I think it's maybe there's an opportunity there to address like the wider Star Rail spectrum, but who knows? Oh yeah, bro, they are doing such a good job with Cyrene. She's like such a breath of fresh air, and obviously considering who she is modeled after from Impact the Third, I mean, it just kind of, I feel like no one dislikes Alicia, right? Like Alicia is just such a likable character, and being able to spend time with her in a certain way once again is really nice. All right, what are we doing now? Yes! Look how tiny she is. Look how small. She's so small. Interesting? Wait, what? A charm check. Okay. I'll give it a try if you give it a try. Okay. Big brother, little sister. That's what this dynamic is. 1000% that's what this dynamic is. Oh, this is such a good line. I believe this wholeheartedly. I think the closer you are with a person, the more comfortable the silence is between you and them are. Like with my best friends and my family, we can just spend time together and not say it. So, and yeah, I fully believe. I mean, you have to remember the Trailblazer and Mem spent a significant amount of time together. So, yeah, these two already know each other very well. No, tell me more. Come on, Kalis. Yeah, because you guys have fragments of your memories from the time you were in the previous cycle. They bantered a lot. There's some amazing shots here. Wow, I actually expected this epilogue to be like very like minimalistic. This is great. This should be honestly, this should probably be part of the story. I'll be perfectly honest.
Look, ripples. Come on, reel it in. Please.
What do we get? Oh, okay. We got some memory shards. Investigate that later. Where are we? Oh, this is like connected to that to this building. I thought I grabbed this already. Oh, I probably didn't grab it because I accidentally clicked the dining table. Is she asleep again, or is she's on the swing again? Okay. Let's catch up to chat really quick. Steve-O, it is also possible that they will simply put it into Astral Express's radio's interastral peace broadcast. Yes, that is possible. But I think that would be almost too insignificant. Like, an Eon got scratched by a mortal, Here's, you know, what the weather's like next on whatever interastral peace broadcast. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like if they're going to bring up Nanook being harmed by a mortal, I think it'd be something they would put into the narrative. If you've seen Phainon's voice lines, he would be very interested to join the path of the Trailblaze after all this is over. Wait, hold on. Hold on, guys. Okay, wow, he has a lot. I'm guessing it's probably this. Oh, there we go.
Essence of trailblazing, exploring the cosmos, bridging worlds. If it weren't for my duties, I'd gladly try my hand at being a nameless.
Oh, well, look at that.
The composition of our existences may be fundamentally different, but the heart that beats within us both burns with the same heat.
So, yes, I think that Phainon / Kaslana would make a good Trailblazer. That said, I don't think he's going to join, which is unfortunate because he is a fantastic character, and I would love for him to have constant interactions with the Trailblazer. But to me, the reason he's not joining is just from a narratively paced perspective. We've got this motherfucker right here. Hold on, where is he? I mean, let me just go back and forth between the two of them, right? Same color palette, same outfit, you know, just like, and Sunday just joined. Like, I feel like we need to give more screen time to him. If Sunday was present in Amphorius from the start and he had gotten a lot of screen time, then I'd be more inclined to say that Phainon would be able to join. But because he hasn't, I still think we need to give Sunday priority. So it'd be nice if he joined, though, but I don't think he will. I mean, that's what I like about 3.4's end. Sure, we lost Phainon, but now we get to know Mem. It's her turn to have the spotlight. Yes, 1000%. And this is something that they talked about when Amphorius was first getting released, that Amphorius, it has two parts. It's split into part 1 and it's split into part 2. And I was always wondering how they were going to designate the difference between part 1 and part 2. Like, were they actually going to directly show it in the story? Were they going to say part 1 or part 2? To me, the way they've finally separated part 1, part 2 is part 1 is Phainon and part 2 is Cyrene. And that makes perfect sense to me, and I think it's a fantastic narrative choice. So it's time for Cyrene to have the spotlight. And many of you guys know, as popular as Kevin is, and Phainon being Kevin's XP, Elysia is just as popular as Kevin from Honkai Impact the Third. So Cyrene was always going to be a significant character, and I'm glad that she's getting the spotlight now. Steve-O, yeah, because post 3.5 arrivals will most likely miss a lot of it. Yes, I agree. Honestly, I think it'll be a slow burn if he does join, but I do agree Sunday's gotten so far. Yeah, and if I think both Steve-O, you and Hollowed Sage, both of you guys are, I think, mostly new chatters. Welcome in. Happy to have you here. Hope you guys come back. But if you go back and you watch some of my older streams, you will see that the one major criticism that I always bring up in almost every single story stream is the fact that I think Sunday has been underutilized. I think, and not just Sunday as well. I think Sunday should have come with Dan Heng and the Trailblazer to Amphorius originally. But I also think that Himiko and Welt should have joined Amphorius earlier than what they haven't even joined yet. They're not even here. So I think we spent too much time alone for the most part with Dan Heng. Like you take a character as important and as compelling as Sunday, you make him be the very first member to quote unquote join the Express, because that hasn't been confirmed yet, right? But it's been all but confirmed because of the voice line stuff, right? For those of you who don't know, the Trailblazer, he only has voice lines for the Astral Express members. So for the longest time, he only had March, he only had Dan Heng and then he only had Himiko, and he only had Welt. Well, look who's there now. Look who's there. So yeah, Sunday's all but confirmed to join. This to me all but confirms it. And the other thing is, right, you've got this red line right here from the Astral Express ticket. If you take a look at Sunday, what is this? What is this? What is this? Yeah, this is going to be where the ticket is. And I think he's just going through, you know, like his quote unquote internship period. He has yet to join, but he will join. So I'll get to the chats here in a bit. I'm gonna go down to the docks here really quick. I want to see if there's a little bit more Cyrene. Oh. Oh, hey! The leopard! Oh, God. Are we gonna... Please tell me we actually get to fight against Cyrene and Seal Surfers. Look at these two. Bro, these two share a brain cell. There's no way you can convince me otherwise. These two share a brain cell. God, this is so good. They are establishing this dynamic early and they're doing it so well. You can almost feel the weight. Okay, sure. What, the seals are being nice to each other, and Cyrene and the Trailblazer, they just want to fight. God, I love her so much. Is there anything else? No, it's probably still the same dialogue. Let's double check the docs one more time, but I think that's probably all the Cyrene that we get. If we missed anything, it is what it is. I'll watch it on my own. Oh. If we're gonna get Cyrene, it's gonna be over here probably. Okay, no. But we did get this interesting thing. Collect your thoughts. Yeah, because it's gorgeous. This is really similar to like in Penacony when you would go to Firefly's top. You would also get stuff like this. Mem is still around. She's just human now. Okay, I think that's all the Cyrene that we get. Let's catch up to chat. I think, so Hollow Sage, even if Sunday is on the next planet, I think Sunday not being in Euphorius is a missed opportunity. I agree. But considering how Euphorius is written, they'd have more characters to deal with in this simulation. I agree. To both points. I think they're trying their best, obviously. But yeah, Euphorius having such a large cast and such an isolated cast from the rest of the Star Rail universe, I think having Sunday and Euphorius was going to be difficult to write. I still think they should have tried. And even if they didn't want to make Sunday narratively important in Euphorius, just have him there, right, with Dun Hung and the Trailblazer. Have him interact with them, have him banter, you know, have the dynamic expand. Even if he's not important, I think it's important to establish that character dynamic. So yeah, I think that's a misstep. So hopefully in part 2, Sunday, Himiko, and Welch join pretty quickly. Steve-O, I do think Sunday at some point will be important in Euphorius because in the first epic trailer, his shadow is seen after Express's shadow is seen passing through the screen. Really? I did not know that. I'll have to go back and look at that. But if Sunday is going to be important in Euphorius, they better get to it quickly because they're running out of time. I think they've already run out of time to make Sunday important in Euphorius. So he better show up at 3.5 if that's the case, and they better get to it quickly. Sage, also, the Nameless Faces trailer literally has Trailblazer phase into Phainon they were cooking the whole time. Yes, I did see that on Reddit. The fact that the foreshadowing that the Trailblazers was going to inherit the Deliverer title from Phainon. Really cool stuff. Steve-O, no, between them and Phainon, they share true brain cells. Both are with Cyrene at all times because she was the one who came up with eternal recurrence. True. Phainon has no brain cells. The Trailblazer has no brain cells. And Cyrene only has 2 brain cells, but that's enough for her to come up with the eternal recurrence plan. So essentially what we're saying is all 3 of them are gremlins, and all 3 of them are low IQ, but we love them anyway. Also, I have an achievement. Nice. Okay, so now that Cyrene stuff is done, we're going to go look at all of Phainon's memory. And then once we do that, we'll watch the trailer, and then after that, we will start our story discussion, which we'll try to keep it short because we're already at an hour and a half. And my throat is getting quite sore. So we already got Pythia's memory. Let's go with Galba, who seems to be potentially the father or the master of Pivo and Livia. Oh, Piso, sorry. Misremember the name. Okay. So I think it's the father. Yeah, let's be a snitch. It'll probably be soon. Also, for my viewers, and I can't believe I haven't talked about this before. I click through dialogue pretty quickly. You guys might think I'm ignoring it. No, I just read insanely quickly. I read very quickly, so I always pay attention to the dialogue for the most part. Sometimes I do skip it if I feel like it's unimportant. So, all right, Piso, you gotta run, bro, because your dad's coming for you. Anyone over here? I don't think so. No one over here. Okay, here we go. Hieronymus, I think is how you pronounce that. Phainon's father. Whoa, holy shit, this is crazy. Oh. Oh no. Oh, this is just come on. Okay, now they're pouring salt in my wound. Now they've stabbed in my heart with this metaphorical dagger over and over and over again, and now they're just taking this just giant bag of kosher salt and they're just pouring it into the cavity. Oh, fine, and stop being tsundere. Say goodbye to your parents. Phainon, you have no idea how wrong you are, but also kind of wrong in a certain way, considering the Trailblazer took it over. Phainon's mother? Phainon's mother. Oh, this is so good. So he got his hair color from her. Please tell me. Oh my god, imagine if this were the ending scene of Euphorius. Oh, how I would cry. Honey sun cake with smoked venison and olive juice. That sounds delicious. Okay, moving on. Stop. Star Rail. Stop, please. Okay. I am still emotionally distraught from 3.4. You don't need to drive it even further. And I think, did we talk to Pisa already or Livia? Okay, we did not. Oh, hey, chill. Damn. My bad. My bad, Piso. And this is the last one. What's going on, Piso? I'll catch up to chat here in a bit, guys. Oh, you're hiding from the teacher, like Phainon used to do. Nice. A few classes. Oh, nice. He knows, because he used to skip class. You know it. We already ratted you out. And we ratted you out to your dad as well. Not too late. $1,000%, bro. Listen to dad. Practice archery. No picky eating. No skipping class. No bullying Livia. Ideas Lizzie. It was just so beautiful. All right, well, let's go. Let's go over here, and we will log out, catch up to chat. Okay. Hollow Sage. Honestly, I really like that Phainon / Kaslana isn't an idiot. He was just a good-hearted person, destroyed by time as shown with how he finished off Cyrene's hypothesis on other eons being chosen to save Amphoris. Yes, Phainon was very smart. And I think, wasn't it directly confirmed that he like graduated with like top honors or something? I don't remember. But yeah, Phainon he has his moments of like, derpiness, right? Like the stuff with like him and Mighty Mouse in the baths, and you know, he has his, his like funny moments, but he is a smart individual. He clearly understands things. He's also not just like intellectually smart, he's emotionally smart as well. You can tell that he has a good read on various people's emotions. And I think a big reason for that is because he wears his heart on his sleeve. So people understand his emotions and vice versa. He understands their emotions. So yeah, he is not this kind of blubbering, like almost like, haha, I am like the shonen protagonist. I'm a bit stupid, but very heroic. No, he is smart. Hollow Sage. Also, what are you most excited about going back in time to save all the Crisis heirs? Because Trailblazer would have seen all of these cycles as well. It's surprising how they didn't go mentally insane too. Well, Trailblazer, basically, the way I see it is that the Trailblazer, he saw the cycles, but like they just downloaded into his brain. He didn't actually experience them the way Phainon did. Phainon went through those cycles. He was the one who created the memories that Trailblazer gets. So it's not that the Trailblazer actually experienced them, it's that he basically just had everything downloaded to his brain. It's basically the way Phainon gets all of Kaslana's memories, right? The same thing with the Trailblazer. And I guess a good analogy would be to like say you're creating a video, not a video essay. Say you're creating like an essay for your college class or your high school class, right? And you type it out. Phainon obviously will have quote unquote read the essay because he typed the essay himself. It was long, it was hard work, and it was grueling, but he eventually read it all. The Trailblazer just downloaded the file and just read it really quickly. That's the way I see it personally. But in terms of what I'm most excited about, I mean, you just saw it right then and there, Cyrene. I mean, the banter with her is so fun. I think the dynamic with her and Trailblazer is incredible. And just her being the XP of Alicia, I mean, obviously I'll be excited for her, regardless. But okay, so we've got something really exciting now. Let's go ahead and switch to our last overlay. We'll be on this overlay for the most of the stream. Here we go. So we've got a new Phainon trailer, and I've been saving it for stream to react to it. It's really short, so won't be a lot to talk about, but still, hopefully we get a little bit of something that we can discuss. And then from here, we'll go into the story recap, and we'll touch on that a little bit. So what are we on? No, that's a bit too low. Let's do 20%. That's what I usually do. Captions on. Here we go. Oh, what the fuck?
This cruel flame chase journey has made me abandon my fantasies. The future is not a paradise with a gentle
Whoa, this is gorgeous.
waiting for us to step in.
Yo. Oh my god, what the fuck? I was not expecting an action scene. Oh my god, animation. Hold up. Okay, I was not prepared. Oh my god, he caught the sword. Oh, okay. Show me his abs.
It is a mass of chaos. I will tear it apart. Then usher in the first ray.
Holy shit. What? Joshua Waters. Oh my goodness. Also, damn, bro. They didn't give us just one. They gave us two amazing action scenes. Bro, they just have to make a Star Rail anime at this point. We're getting a Genshin anime animated by Ufotable. Give us a Star Rail anime animated by Mappa and let them compete. Let them compete. Amazing stuff. Again, not a lot to discuss here. It's just, I think, reinforcing what we've already seen, right? It's, you know, the basically slow fall of Phainon and his descent into depression and sorrow as he, you know, goes through everything, and then the difference between him and Kaslana fighting, despite not knowing, they ultimately share the same goal. Great stuff. Great trailer. Really, really gorgeously animated. Okay, before we jump into the story discussion, like I said, we are doing a different format for this. We used to just go chronologically. We're not doing that anymore. We're just going to talk about what comes to my mind. There are a few key talking points that I would like to address. Hollowed Sage, Steve-O, feel free to ask questions. Feel free to comment on anything. This is just a good time for us to just get it out. We've already kind of been discussing the story extensively. But yeah, we'll talk about a few things, a few key talking points. We're not going to go chronologically. It takes too much time, and this is more discussion. It's not a recap. There's going to be some recap elements to it, but it's more of a discussion. So a good start to this is Hollowed Sage. You've got a couple things here for me. Very excited about Cyrene, but I really am excited about how Phainon failed to be this hope that the Trailblazer will open up all these crisis areas differently and actually unite them rather than just being broken like all the other cycles. That's an interesting take. I do think that's going to be the case in some ways. I wouldn't necessarily say Phainon failed to be this hope. I would say that Kaslana did. Because Kaslana, even then, Kaslana was originally Phainon. I think Kaslana eventually became this force of chaos, the Flame Reaver, that was gathering core flames on instinct and just delaying Iron Tomb's ascension through time itself, right? What Kaslana's failure was basically descending into badness and insanity and depression, right? He eventually stopped caring about the lives of his Chrysos heirs. Maybe if Kaslana every single cycle attempted his best to be a leader, to unite the Chrysos heirs, to, you know, truly take them, you know, through the Flame Chase journey and against Lygus and Iron Tomb, maybe if he had kept at it for 33 million cycles, he would have been able to succeed. The Kaslana's failure was that he wasn't able to. He never gave up. He never gave up. That's incorrect. But he did basically. He weakened, and the big reason why he's so well written is, of course, he weakened, right? No human, or really no consciousness, should ever be able to sustain what Kaslana went through. No one. Like, he suffered 33 million plus cycles, each one of those cycles being not thousands of years. I think it's just 1,000 years. Correct me if I'm wrong. All while sustaining even more millions of core flames in his body. Yes, Kaslana failed. He eventually became completely apathetic, and that was something that we saw in 3.4. Like Cypher, Anaxa, Hyacinth, even Mighty Most to a certain extent, but less so. They all called out Kaslana. The fact that his method was wrong and that he should approach things differently. But how could he approach things differently? It was impossible. He was suffering to such an extreme extent. It took everything he had just to maintain his resolve. So I think it'll be interesting, like you said, for Trailblazer to, I think, not necessarily, he's going to take on the role of the deliverer, but I think it's going to be interesting to have him be a model for the Phainon of this cycle. I think the Phainon of this cycle is going to be more successful than Kaslana, I guess. It's a difficult way to put it. Joshua really loves Kaslana too. Anime of Euphorius arc would go just so well if they adapted everything from Star Rail. I think everything in Star Rail could be good in the anime. Do go from the start, right? Start with Bellabogs. No, start with her at a space station. Start from the beginning. Go through it all. Why not, right? Like, imagine Penacony animated. Oh my god! And also, if they were to do an anime for Star Rail, they could make the Xianzhou better. That's the one part of Star Rail that I think Sao is like not very good. Is the very first Xianzhou story. Make it better. Give it another try. I think what I mean to say on the last comment is that Phainon was too naive, too late, and Kasana was never going to be trusted by Seridra. That's well said, I think. Yeah, that's more accurate for sure. Yeah, I think Trailblazer is going to be more. Trailblazer is going to be able to, I think, connect Seridra and to the Euphorius narrative, I think, and I think Seridra is going to play a major role. So I agree with that. Okay, so the very first thing that I would like to talk about regarding the story might not be what you guys expect. I think most of you are expecting me to jump straight to the animated short, which we will get to shortly. Don't worry, but that's not what I want to talk about. The first thing I want to talk about is, let me find it. It's pretty far in. It's after all the Kasana stuff. We're almost there. Here we go. Is this. I'm not saying this is the most powerful moment of the 3.4 story. You know what? I'm not really getting a good shot here. Here we go. This is good. I think this is not the most powerful moment of the 3.4 story, but I think it's an extremely underrated moment that I don't see really talked about a lot. I think this exchange between Kaslana and Phainon here is so powerful. This is really the only moment we ever see Kaslana and Phainon interact positively. Because they interact a lot negatively. Like the Flame Reaver and Phainon fight a lot within Euphorius. But this is the one moment we really see within the narrative where Phainon realizes everything Kaslana has gone through. And Kaslana is finally able to be genuine and sincere with Phainon and be like, and he tells him, I think, take my strength, take my memories, don't submit to the eons. Don't submit to these puppet masters that have put you through all this suffering. And my favorite part is the fact that Phainon's reaction here is so powerful. Hold on. Yeah, this is the shot that I'm looking for. Oh my god. I got goosebumps during this section. And I don't see a lot of people talk about it. I have seen some people reference to this, but it's so just it's almost like it's a very specific type of sadness that I feel like they didn't really capture a lot besides in this one moment. A lot of 3.4 is deep suffering, depression, sorrow, like sorrowfulness. But this is like almost like this bittersweetness that I really thought was really well put into the story. It's this expression, the realization of Phainon on everything that Kaslana went through, the resolve that this is the one moment Kaslana gets recognized for his efforts. Look how painful his expression is, but also grateful and like thankful for everything he's gone through. It's such a fantastic send off. It's so powerful. And then the resignation that he is now taking on the role of the Flame Reaver of Kaslana. So well done. Just this entire exchange I thought was so powerful, emotionally charged, and was a fantastic lead up to everything that comes after. So Steve-O, imagine actually doing Danger. Doomsday Beast presents justice. That would be very important as well. I do think the way the Trailblazer got gazed at by Nanook was pretty weak. I think early on in Star Rail, I don't think the Honkai Star Rail team really understood the scope of the story they were telling. And so, stuff like the Trailblazer being gazed at by Nanook, Fantilia showing up as an antagonist, those were like, I didn't really feel impact from those moments, right? We don't really remember those moments at all. Nowadays, a Lord Ravager in any way comes into the story, just immense narrative influence, right? All of Amphorius revolves around Iron Tomb, right? All of Amphorius. Like, we are going to get 8 story patches revolving around Iron Tomb and his ascension. Fantilia got like a story patch, not really, half a story patch, right? So I think early on in Star Rail, they were still figuring out how to properly assign weight to each narrative moment because they were still trying to figure out the scope of the story, which I think they did. It took a little bit of time. Hollowed Sage, and since the cycle is broken, Cyrene and Mem can be our guide again. Yes, I'm excited for that. I mean, we just saw how good their dynamic is. Really, really excited to see more of it. Steve-O, and funnily enough, it's Phainon's reaction to that interaction that drew Nanook's gaze. Yes, Steve-O. Yes, I almost forgot to mention that. Phainon's this interaction. I think it's here, right? No, right after. Nanook gazes on Phainon for the first time because of this exchange. Whether or not he gazes at Phainon because he recognizes the emotional impact of it, or he recognizes the resolve, it shows how powerful this is. It shows how this moment needs to be talked about more, in my opinion. That's a strange thing to say, but whatever. But yeah, great call out, Steve-O. I wanted to say that and I completely forgot. Hollowed Sage, to be fair, Phainon understands Kaslana's plan. No one ever understood where Kaslana was coming from. I think that gave Kaslana relief in the end. Yes, relief is what I was looking for. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you so much for bringing it. Yes, it is a moment of like relief and sadness and gratefulness that I think is extraordinarily powerful. I'm trying to find. Here we go. We're almost there. Not there. Here, like, imagine how much relief Kaslana is feeling at the moment. And like, Phainon almost seems happy for Kaslana. Like he's almost relieved for Kaslana's relief. Also, I know people talk about him not choosing anyone but Phainon to be the next Flame Reaver, but I also think that he wanted to bear the burden and suffering of one of the other Chrysosers to be protected from this hell because he's selfless. Yes, of course, that's the main reason. There's other reasons as well. Like there's the reason that Phainon is just logically the only person who can do this. Because remember, Phainon is a Chrysos heir without flaw. He has the most destruction power within him out of any Chrysos heir. So only he can take on the core flames. No one else can. Because remember, only a single core flame, one core flame. Aglaya had one core flame for over 1,000 years. So still a pretty lengthy amount of time. But Aglaya had one core flame. And by the end of the Crisis Heir's journey, she was about to fade into existence. That's how powerful and almost toxic and poisonous the core flames are. They are these small bits of destruction that will slowly eat away at a person over time. And Aglaya, just one of them, was only able to hold it for 1,000 years. Phainon held well over, I think, is 400 million, right? Just think about that. That is insane. Ridiculous. The fact that this motherfucker didn't crumble, the fact that he somehow remained mentally conscious in any way, he should have been a vegetable. He should have been brain dead. It goes to show just how special he is. Hollow Sage, I think what changed about Nanook finally gazing on Phainon is that he finally accepted his role in this place, but that also means that Phainon is finally free. He is now the ultimate destruction, and that's how he begins his war on Nanook for the first time in his life. That is a great perspective, and I think it connects to what we were talking about earlier. I don't remember if it was you, Sage, or if there was Stevo, but one of you two mentioned how like Phainon should be the Lord Ravager destined to destroy destruction because it would mirror the relationship between the Flame Reaver and Phainon. I think that is such a good theory. So I think that connects to that. So, but yeah, this moment is really, really good, and I wanted to bring attention to it first and foremost. But now let's talk about the thing that everyone wants to talk about, right? Holy fuck, is this whole sequence incredible. I mean, just what is this chat? Oh, this is CG Inferno, because CG Inferno, he streams these story quests. I was like, what is this one single Twitch chat? I thought my Twitch chat had broken for a moment there. I was like, hello? But Joshua Waters, what a performance. What a performance. He really should be nominated for in the next Game Awards for like voice actor performance of the year. If you were to ask me, I think Joshua has the single best overall Star Rail voice acting performance. I think this patch he solidified it. He was already competing for it, but I think this patch he solidified it. I think the only contender is Camden, the voice actor for Aventurine. I think Aventurine is second now. Phainon's number one. So, but yeah, Joshua Waters to me has the best voice acting performance in Star Rail. That said, I still think Annalisa Fisher's has the best singular scene performance. I think Annalisa's performance as Firefly on the rooftop scene, to me, that is still the single best voice acting performance in Star Rail. That, and there's an interview that she did, I think, with Andrew Russell, the voice actor for Boot Hill, because I think they're good friends in real life. There was an interview they did where Annalisa, I really dislike misgendering people. Annalisa, they were talking to Andrew about that scene and how it really was very raw. It came from her own experiences with disability, and you can really feel it in that scene. That rooftop scene is special. I think it's so powerfully voice acted. If you guys should go rewatch it because it is just really fantastically voice acted. But I think this scene, Phainon talking with Lygus, I think is very close. I think this is probably the second best voice acted scene in the entire game. So, Steve-O, that was Sage. I was mentioning how Phainon exemplifies self-destructive nature of Path of Destruction. Yes, thank you. But both of you have made great points throughout the night. So, Hollow Sage, his whole prisoner monologue to Lygus is so perfect. It's easier with the Lord Ravagers when he's called a prisoner of Starfire, is also called a prisoner of Flames. Turns on its head when he is the jailer for Lygus. It Iron Tomb. Yes, that's a great thing to call out. I noticed that as well after the fact. It's just great irony in the fact that he broke out for only a time in that short is beautiful. Yes. Basically the role of Lygus and the role of Phainon basically switching in this moment right here, and Phainon basically just doing everything he can to make sure Lygus knows it, right? Phainon just hammers the point home over and over and over again, and also just roasts him just endlessly. Like, it is perfectly voice acted by Joshua Waters. Can we talk about a specific line? Hold on. Let me find it. At this point, he's more talking to Nanook than Lygus. I'm trying to find a line that I think is the best. I think it's this next one. Yeah, no, just kidding, just kidding. Give me a little bit. Yeah, here we go. This is the best line. Let's listen to this line. And pay attention to the last two words. I can only dream about voice acting this well.
Let the fire burn. If I was born as the blazing son of destruction, then let you and your lackeys be the flares erupting from my core. And let this rage, burning futilely for 30 million epochs, engulf everything.
Oh my God, goosebumps, man. The way he says engulf everything. I mean, one more time. One more time. Oh, just masterful work. Just, oh, so powerful. Joshua Waters. Bravo. He probably will never watch this stream, but bravo. You did an amazing, magical job. But yeah, this whole scene with Lygus is thematically so good because of what Steve-O and Holosage have said. It is basically Phainon finally breaking free of this almost prisoner's journey of being the deliverer, and now is able to take this destruction energy, this fire that's burning within him, and pursue it, to release it in every way he ever imagined possible. And Lygus is there basically trying to keep him within that prison. Ironically, Lygus wouldn't mind keeping Phainon within that cycle, because eventually he would break, right? And Iron Tomb would ascend. But what Lygus is trying to do is he's trying to essentially have a moral victory over Phainon, almost. And it's really ironic because he even says so. Like, let's find the line. Hold on. Yeah. He says this: you can claim victory of the spirit if you wish. Ironically, this is what he wants. He's trying to convince himself that he is still in the position of power here. Because logically, he is, right? There's no way for Phainon to kill him. No way at all. But so, like, he's the admin of everything here. He's the operator. Phainon can't do anything to him. But Phainon has well and truly won the victory of spirit, like the battle of spirits here. And Lygus feels threatened by that. He feels like, his position of admin is being challenged almost, even though that's not the case. And for Phainon to not crumble, to stand his ground, because why wouldn't he? He's free. He is about to go fight against whatever is out there. Iron Tomb, the Scepter, Nanook, he doesn't care. He doesn't care. He's just going out to fight against the forces of destruction, whoever they may be. He wants to release. He knows he's going to release everything burning inside of him, and he is eager, excited. His adrenaline is pumping. He's made it. He's won. He did not break once during those 33,550,336 cycles. He's just running a victory lap at this point. And it's really ironic and also pathetic of Lygus to claim this. Really ironic. Hollowed Sage, would you rather Iron Tomb was killed or Kaslana was overwritten as Iron Tomb? I think both are possibilities. I want the latter. Thank you for bringing that up, Hollowed Sage. I want the latter. I want basically a Lord Ravager to come from Amphorius. I don't want a Lord Ravager to not come from Amphorius, but I want it to be Kaslana, the Lord Ravager, aimed to destroy to destruction. I want Iron Tomb's ascension to be overwritten and for Kaslana to take his place. I think that is such great story writing. What a way to end Amphorius, right? Steve-O, also Amphorius' music album is called allegory of the cave in its EP video released during 3.0 has the description: the one who left the cave refuses to return to the cage, for he has already witnessed the face of the truth. Holy shit, that is so fucking cool. That is so cool. Oh my god, that is dope. Man, there are so many things that you guys find, and I do my own research, by the way. I go through and I try to find these little things that you guys are telling me, and you guys just find way more than I do. That is dope. And yeah, it's so powerful. It's great stuff. And also, I know we're ragging on Lygus a lot because, yeah, rightfully so, right? What a fantastic antagonist. Like, he is so hateable and easy to hate and fun to hate. And also ties into everything thematically as well. His spite against Noose, his pursuit of the destruction, the irony of his character, the hypocritical nature of his character. He is well written as well. So yeah, we rag on Lygus a lot, but great character. Also, fantastically voice acted as well. So we just talked about Fainon's line, or Joshua Waters' line, where he says engulf everything. Listen to the end of this line right here, this final bit, especially the way he says 0 to 1. We'll start from the beginning. Oh, I don't have audio on.
Billion after that. But you will never escape this cage. You can claim victory of the spirit if you wish. But we both know the moment that score shifts from 0 to 1.
Oh my god. The emphasis in that line is just so powerful as well. So who is I actually don't know Legacy's voice actor. A Blythe Melon. I haven't heard the name before. I might be pronouncing it, but Blythe, also bravo, because his performance was also very, very strong in 3.4. So, yeah, this scene, masterful scene, really, really good. All right, let's talk about what everyone is here for. What a climax. Here we go. What a climax. So the animated short. The first thing I want to say about the animated short is I don't think this should have been released on YouTube. And if it was going to be released on YouTube, I think they should have waited like at least a week. Because they released this like I think like an hour after 3.4 released or something like that. And I think a lot of people, rightfully so, said, "Oh, dope, an animated short. Let me go watch it." Because all of the previous animated shorts up until now have been either separate from the story or Castoris's was embedded within the story. She was the first, but her animated short was structured in a way that you could watch it either within the story or outside the story, right? Either one worked. This animated short does not. This animated short is meant to be watched embedded in the story. So I think they should have waited just a bit longer to upload it to YouTube. Personally, I think to really get the full experience of this animated short, you need to watch it within the story because it ties. It's basically a part of the story. Imagine watching this animated short, and maybe some of you did, my imaginary audience, or maybe Stevo or Sage, you guys watched it outside of the story. But imagine going in, seeing Phainon just, hey, what's going on, Nanook? And you're just like, what? How is Nanook relevant here? You know what I mean? So yeah, a bit of a misstep from Hoyoverse. So, but we start with Phainon basically running through this black background with this bonfire that's slowly getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And we see the number, the cycles increase over time as he ages up. Fantastic imagery, fantastic symbolism, basically showing his rage and his destruction fuel just burning brighter and harder and stronger as he goes through each cycle. Great way to show it. Sage, if you watch the Tribios vid, there's a line with Phainon that has too much pain after 3.4. Oh, really? I'll have to go take a look. Stevo, I do think when Lygus actually involves himself directly, he will be a problem with his whole "you can't permanently kill me" shtick. Oh yeah, 1000%. Lygus is going to be a boss eventually. I don't think it's going to be 3.5, but if I were to guess, I think he'd beat the boss at 3.6, and then Iron Tomb is the boss in 3.7, right? That's the way I see it. But yeah, I mean, Lycus is a threat. He is currently being made fun of a lot, but he is a massive obstacle. And he is also a great character and a fantastic antagonist. Stevo, Castorus 1 was backstories, it was somewhat tolerable. Yeah, I agree. Like Castorus 1, you can watch in or outside of the story, whatever. Phainon's, it's a bit, I feel bad for the people who watched the short, thinking that it was like every other short. And they didn't get to experience the animated short the way that I got to experience it, which was embedded within the story. So a good friend of mine, my best friend in real life, that's what he did. He watched the animated short when it came out, and unfortunately, he did not get to experience it the way I got to experience it. And so I'm like, man, that kind of sucks for you, you know. So, oh, we still have volume on. We've already praised Joshua Waters a lot, but again, I'm just gonna say it once. His performance in this animated short, oh my lord, just amazing. I think it's really cool that Nanook is basically well, let's stop it here. Nanook is full on staring at Phainon. A lot of people have said like this isn't just a gaze, this is just a full on stare, which is insane. But another thing that I don't see a lot of people talking about is the fact that, hold on, let me try to find a better shot for this. It might be later. Nanook's expression is almost expecting. It seems very neutral, but when you really start to look at it, look how narrow his eyes are. Look at the formation of his lips. Look at the angle of his chin, the way he's like staring down. He's almost, it almost feels like he wants Phainon / Kaslana to prove himself. Like he's like, show me what you can do. Like he like almost is respecting his rage against him. Like you hate me? Okay, fantastic. Show me. Like it is, I think there is a level of interest here from Nanook that maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe he's completely apathetic to all of this. But I think it makes sense, right? He's looking and staring at Phainon so intently for so long. So, but yeah, the animated short, we'll go through this pretty quickly. So, first things first, you can see the buildup of Phainon's rage. It starts out, he's fully clothed, he's using Dawnmaker, gorgeously animated. Just the motion of everything is super cool. I love the glow they gave Dawnmaker. It's like almost this like turquoise glow. And then as this short goes on, he gets more and more rageful. His core flames start to burn. He loses his shirt so that we can see his glorious abs. And eventually he gets to the point where he has grown so powerful that he destroys all of the forces of destruction that Iron Tomb has summoned. And you can kind of see this. You like all this debris, that's the forces of destruction. And then you get, honestly, and you can tell that Phainon is loving everything about this. Look how ecstatic he looks. He is finally able to just release everything inside of him, all the core flames, everything that has been causing him so much suffering. He is just unloading it all. And then immediately following this, you get what might be my favorite moment of 3.4. Actually, I don't know. The hypest moment of 3.4. Excuse me? The fuck you mean? What the fuck is this, Hoyoverse? Bro, go back and rewatch my VOD. My reaction to this was just pure shock. I was like, Zephyro? Excuse me? I didn't. You could have asked me a million times what I would have expected to see in this animated short, and Zephyro would have not come up once. Bro, but it makes sense. Like, who could Iron Tomb simulate here besides Nanook? Because I don't think it's possible to really simulate an Eon. Who is the person strongest that Iron Tomb knows? out there to combat Phainon? Zephyro, the strongest Lord of Ravager. Stevo, no, sorry, Hollowed Sage, Kid Phainon, happiness. Teen Phainon, struggle. Adult Phainon, rage. Oh yes, absolutely. Phainon isn't struggling against Nanook's gaze either, like seeing an equal in rage such destruction. Yes, that's another thing. If anything, Phainon is reveling in Nanook's gaze, right? He hates Nanook, but he's happy that Nanook is giving him attention. He is happy that he is respecting his struggle against Nanook. But yeah, Zephyro showing up, fucking awesome. Phainon and Zephyro begin clashing. What, this is such an amazing fight. It's the best fight in Star Rail, easily. One thing to point out here is Phainon is holding his own. He is, but Zephyro is comfortable. He is very comfortable here. Like, look at the way he swats away the meteor. Like, look at this animation here. Just no, he's not moving. He's floating completely still. One arm batting away, and then just destroys the meteor and then cuts Phainon down. Phainon is extremely powerful. He was able to harm an Eon. Like, this is beyond the strength of some emanators that we've seen. But Zephyro is in complete control of this fight. Phainon is putting on a struggle, but Zephyro never once is threatened. It goes to show just how insanely powerful Zephyro is. Phainon was able to harm Nanook. Therefore, Zephyro theoretically should also be able to harm an Eon. That's crazy. But yeah. Also, as many people have pointed out, this is a simulation. This is still within Iron Tomb, the scepter. Iron Tomb simulated Zephyro, and Phainon is still a simulated life form. The music here is amazing. This is my favorite part of the song when it gets quiet. Seeing Phainon atop of all the corpses of the Chrysos heirs is also just, again, fantastic imagery. And finally, the flame just bursts forward. Phainon, again, one last stand. And I love this moment for Zephyro because I think, so I'm going to point something out later. But what happens here is Zephyro gives Phainon back his sword, Dawnmaker. Why? Like, if this is a simulated Zephyro to stop Phainon from Iron Tomb, I don't think really cares about Phainon's, like, struggle. Nanook respects Phainon's struggle, but I think Iron Tomb doesn't give a fuck. Iron Tomb probably is scared of Phainon. He's probably like, get him away from me, right? So that's why he simulated a being as strong as Zephyro. Thing is, if that's the case, and this is still all Iron Tomb simulation, there is no reason Zephyro here should have ever given back a Dawnmaker to Phainon. Zephyro should have just cut him down right then and there. But I think what's starting to happen here is Zephyro giving back Dawnmaker to Phainon is the start of Zephyro recognizing his simulated self and taking it over. Because later on, what we see is, without spoiling it too much, we basically see Zephyro, the real Zephyro, come in. But yeah, Zephyro gives back Dawnmaker to Phainon, which I think is the start of the breaking of the simulation. Phainon, complete badass, cuts off his wing, and he's like, all right, let's go at it. Round 2. He does a bit better this time. He's able to fully clash against Zephyro, but ultimately at the end, Zephyro does get the better of him. And this is the moment. A lot of people, there's been a lot of analysis on this, and I agree, it's still pretty vague on what happened here. But to me, what's important is the fact that you see basically the ground crack and space crack, right? And Amphorius is in the background. To me, the simulation has been cracked. Phainon has built up enough destruction power, enough Pathstrider power, that he has willed himself into existence at this point. Phainon is no longer a line of code within the scepter. He is real. This is a real human being. Or maybe not human, but who knows. But also, at the same time, this is also at the same moment, Zephyro completely takes over his simulated self. Zephyro here, and this is something that's happened before. If you play Simulated Universe, there's a moment where Polka Kakamon basically takes over her simulated version in the simulated universe. And this is what I think. This is the same thing. I think Zephyro. Um, it started with Zephyro giving back Dawnmaker to Phainon, but now I think Zephyro has well and truly basically merged with the simulated self, and at the same time, Phainon has willed himself into existence. Because, like I said, why on earth would Zephyro give Dawnmaker back to Phainon if the simulated version of Zephyro wasn't being influenced by the real version of Zephyro? There's no reason why Iron Tomb would ever try to benefit Phainon anyway. So, but to me, Zephyro would be the type of person like Nanook to respect Pheinon's struggle, to expect the fight and spirit that he's showing, and so he gives back Dawnmaker to Phainon. I think it's something. I think it's a small hint, but I think it's something that's real. But yeah, Zephyro again wins the fight easily, but Phainon, in one last final blaze of glory, he basically fully ignites all the power of the core flames. And a lot of people say, well, why didn't Zephyro stop him? Well, I don't think he could. I think for a brief moment, Phainon fully surpasses Zephyro because he is giant here. Phainon is like, look how big Phainon is. He compared to Nanook, he's really tiny, but he's still fucking huge here. And you can see how big he is because Phainon just basically runs towards Nanook and is just casually burning galaxies. Just casually. Just get the fuck out of my way. And yeah, the big moment of the animated short, he is able to harm Nanook, which is insane. That is a feat we have never seen before. He's finally been able to prove that gods can bleed. Well, he falls. He's completely exhausted his power. And this is important. I think Nanook here has recognized Phainon. His eyes narrow slightly. He's almost like content. I feel like he's almost wondering if he wants Phainon to ascend into a Lord Ravager instead of Iron Tomb. Who knows, right? But yeah, then you get the ending part of the animated short. Phainon is crumbling to dust, and he is essentially at this point merging himself with Iron Tomb. He doesn't merge himself into Iron Tomb. Let me correct myself. Lygus assimilates Phainon into Iron Tomb. This is something that Lygus did, which I think is going to be a mistake. I think Lygus is going to regret that decision later. But yeah, amazing animated short, and we then get a reference to the type of person Phainon is at the very end. His wish is to fulfill everyone else's wishes, and if he can't do that, then he can entrust those wishes to someone else. Thematically, very well written, on point, and gorgeously animated. The music is also incredible. An amazing animated short. Sage, I actually think Zephyro respects Phainon when he got back up, hence he accepted the fight continuing. Yes, I agree, and that's why I think that's the moment. Hold on, let's find it. This is the moment Zephyro begins to merge with his simulated self. Because up until this point, this, I think, is just a simulated version of Zephyro from Iron Tomb. Iron Tomb has no reason at all to ever help Phainon defeat his simulation. But if Zephyro starts to influence his simulated self, then yeah, why wouldn't he give back Dawnmaker to Phainon? He respects his spirit. Especially because I think Zephyro at this point realizes, holy shit, this kid is actually fighting me. Like, he's able to go blow for blow against me. Yeah, goddamn. I don't think Zephyro feels that way about the other Lord Ravagers. I think Zephyro sees the other Lord Ravagers as allies, but not equals. To me, Zephyro strikes me as this battle fanatic who is so extremely powerful and aggressive and violent that he shines so brightly. But yeah, animated short, amazing. And then all this at the end is amazing stuff with Lygus basically communicating to Iron Tomb, basically trying to manipulate Iron Tomb into what he wants, which is a Lord Ravager destined to destroy Noose. And then we get obviously the stuff with the As I've Written database, which is really cool. So another one of my regular viewers, his name is Shy. So Shy was in chat at the moment while I was playing through this portion of the story. he brought up something interesting, that the name of the scepter and the program that the scepter is running is Delta Me 13. Delta can also mean change. So actually, what I think this means is Change Me 13. I think that could be what the name of the scepter is actually supposed to mean. That's just a theory of mine. Who knows if that's true? But yeah, I still have to go through a lot of these logs and properly read through them. But it's really cool stuff. And then obviously the end is really cool with Cyrene basically confirming herself as Mem. We've theorized that for a long time. A lot of people practically knew it at this point. Mem was either going to be Cyrene, she was either going to be March, or she was going to be connected to one of the two or both of them at the same time. So this isn't that big of a surprise, but it is nice to get that confirmation. And then the last scene is also really cool with getting the famous Cyrene line again, with her saying this will be a romantic story like no other.
A page that exists because of you.
Look at her. She's so majestic.
Meeting ordained by fate, or a long overdue reunion.
Oh my god. I do think she's going to be my favorite Inforius character at the end of all this, which is what I thought so originally. So okay, so a couple of other things that I would like to point out as we head towards the end of the stream. This moment for me was really fucking cool. I really liked the fact that ourselves, the Trailblazer, and Dan Hong got to finally interact with someone from the outside world. And the fact that it was Skrullum, I think, was so relieving for the two of them, because if it was like Himiko and or Welt or Sunday, they would have been relieved, right? But they would have been like, "Hey, we got to catch you up. We got to tell you we need your help, right?" But the fact that Skrullum shows up here, they know at this point that okay, their friends are doing something. Their friends are working on the outside to help. And because Skrullum is such a immensely important character in the overall Star Rail lore, so I think anytime he shows up, it's always really, really cool. Sage, that wouldn't make sense because Iron Tomb was originally purposed to noose until Lygus manipulated it into destruction. Yes, I agree. I think that name does mean something. Whether or not they outright confirm it, who knows? But I think Change Me 13 would make sense. At least thematically, from what they've told us about Lygus and Iron Tomb up until this point. Yeah, but this moment I think was really cool. Skrullum coming in, our main two cast members finally getting some type of interaction with the outside world, and Dan Hong choosing to leave and later bring back help. Hopefully that happens in 3.5 because, like I said, fucking Hoyoverse, listen to me, Hoyoverse. We need Sunday screen time. You do not bring a character as important as Sunday on the Astral Express and not give him screen time, okay? Please bring them to Inforius and bring Welt and Himiko while you're at it. Okay? Please and thank you. but the next scene is also really, really powerful. Holy shit, did I miss March's voice. March's voice is such like, it's a moment of levity in all of the heaviness of Inforius that I think was really, really needed. And also, obviously, we're going to start getting more of March and Inforius, so I think it's nice to kind of bring this scene up and have it kind of bridge the gap between having no March for 3 story patches and then having a little bit of March finally. So, and obviously, seeing the conversation between her and Cyrene was really, really cool.
Don't we?
Oh, still have audio on. Like this shot is just really cool to me because you know that these two are connected in some way. So, but yeah, really nice conversation. Seeing how the Guardian of Remembrance is trying to manipulate March is nothing new. We've known that for a while, that the Guardian of Remembrance see March as a tool almost, but a very important tool. And Cyrene is basically trying to help March make her own choices, her own decisions, but also trying to prevent her from going to Amphorius because Amphorius is fucking dangerous. But I love this moment because March chooses to go into Amphorius on her own. Yes, she is still doing what the Garden of Remembrance wants her to do, but she's doing it on her own terms. She is not being manipulated. She's not being forced or controlled in any way. She is choosing to go to Amphorius on her own, in her own way, and I think that is so cool. Stevo, interesting parallel I find between Nanook and Phainon is that Akivili visited Adlevon in midst of war between Nanook Ascension. Yes, that is something that has been brought up quite often within the community. In fact, for a long time, a lot of people thought that Amphorius was basically a simulation, or basically a simulation of Nanook's birth or ascension. That Phainon was actually who Nanook originally was as a mortal before he ascended into an eon. But yeah, there is a lot of parallels between Amphorius and Adlevon. Absolutely. The only thing that we're really missing between Adlevon and Amphorius is the swarm, because Nanook's planet was both ravaged by the anti-organic equation from Rupert, but also the swarm at the same time. That's why he ascended, because he went through so much destruction, because he went through basically 2 apocalyptic events. He went through Rupert and he went through the swarm. Both his planet had to deal with both of that. So obviously Amphorius has elements of Rupert because of the anti-organic equation, but not the swarm. That's the only difference. What the fuck? I want to see a train crash into the boss again. You know what would be really funny? And this is something that I've always thought about. What happens when Welt and Himiko try to enter Amphorius? Like, it'd be really funny if the Trailblazer and Cyrene are like in Akama. They're just like, yeah, we gotta do this and we gotta do that, and here's the truth of everything, and all of a sudden you just look to the sky and you just see this train just coming crash landing down, and they're just like, fuck, Himiko, Welt, Sunday, shit, and they have to go save them. Bro, we've crashed the Astral Express twice now. We purposely crashed it against Sunday, and we've also we crashed a cart in Amphorius because of Nikador's spear. But yeah, it'd be very satisfying to take the Astral Express and just crash it against any boss, especially Lygus. Sage, still waiting for playable Screwlum. Aren't we all, Sage? Aren't we all? I feel like everyone is waiting for playable Screwlum at this point. It's going to be a while, though, before we get him. I have a theory that Lygus shot down the train at the story, said that he'd fix the train and let them leave. Was he just going to shoot them down again? The beginning. That could be cool if that was the case. That said, Lygus strikes me as the type of person not to take many risks, especially with Iron Tomb, because Iron Tomb is like his life's work. So to me, I think shooting down the train would only have the train certainly descend onto Amphorius. If Lygus was going to intervene with the Astral Express in any way, I think he would have wanted to have the Astral Express move away from Amphorius. Because think about it. If he crashes the Astral Express, that train card is still in Amphorius. Even if the people inside the train are dead, that train is still there. It's tangible. What if someone were to find it, right? What if Phainon were to find the train? That's proof of an outside world. That's an unknown variable. So to me, if Lygus were to intervene with the train in any way, I think he would have tried to steer it away from Amphorius instead of having it crash. Okay, so moving on to another thing I would like to talk about. Where is it? Here we go. Someone pointed this out to me in a YouTube comment. So this is obviously Lygus being Lygus. Like, at this point, we know how dramatic he is and theatrical he is. But the background here, for those of you who don't know, this is Iron Tomb, or at least this is who Iron Tomb is portrayed to be when he ascends into a Lord Ravager fully. The reason this is Iron Tomb is because this figure right here in the portrait looks very similar to the figure of Iron Tomb in the Myriad Celestia trailer, because we do get a picture of Iron Tomb within the Myriad Celestia trailer, and it looks a lot like this. Now then, let's find Phainon, shall we? Here we go. Look at this. Look at his back. Look at his back. He's got the sun, obviously, but look at the way it extends down his shoulder blades and his back. That's Iron Tomb. Bro, they've been foreshadowing it this whole time. The fact that Phainon is at the very least assimilating with Iron Tomb, or maybe like I think Steve-O, you and I were talking about, overriding Iron Tomb in some way. Basically ascending as a Lord Ravager in place of Iron Tomb. There's no way this is not on purpose. This figure right here on his back is way too similar to Iron Tomb's portrait right here. So we're definitely, Phainon is definitely connected to Iron Tomb. Obviously, he's assimilated within him, so that's for sure the case now. But he's connected to Iron Tomb more so than we think. At least I believe. This whole beginning sequence with Phainon, Cyrene, and the Trailblazer is really well done. I think it's a nice moment of slowness and levity within the story. Getting all the Memoria visions of the Chrysos Heiress and having them interact with Phainon was also really cool. I like that Mighty is the last one, because obviously Mighty and Phainon have the closest relationship amongst all the Chrysos heirs. So that was really, really cool. This moment here was just, so heartbreaking. I mean, basically, this is the moment the suffering starts in 3.4, and it just doesn't end till the end of 3.4. But seeing Phainon, basically, he's bleeding, right? He's bleeding on his shoulder, his face is bleeding, his cheek is bleeding here. He's got a cut on his chest, he's got a cut on his arm. He's basically bleeding throughout his whole body, so he's wounded. And basically having to cut down everyone he's known and loved, because they have all been corrupted into the Black Tide, is so heartbreaking. And why, out of all the villagers they made us specifically focus on, why did it have to be Livia? That's a child. Livia can't be older than like 10 years old. Holy shit. What a way to like really sell us the impact in the horrors of the Black Tide. All right. Sage, I know I mentioned the outcomes of Iron Tomb. My third path could be that he merges with Kaslana. Yeah, that to me is, I think that's what me and Steve were talking about earlier, that I think Phainon is almost going to overwrite Iron Tomb, that he's going to ascend in place of Iron Tomb against Lygas's wishes and be a Lord Ravager dedicated to the destruction of the destruction itself. So we'll see what happens. Making it some sort of bond/connection connection to the merge, yeah. Steve-O, if Lygas would be fought first time in 3.5, I can see it being to stop him preventing the train from arriving. Ooh, that's an interesting point. I actually don't dislike that. Like, Himiko, Welt, Sunday are finally able to make their way into Amphorius, and Lygas is like, fuck, I have to stop them, and we go and fight him. That's actually pretty good. I could see that. It'd be kind of weird to fight Lygas in 3.5 though, because then who would we fight in 3.6? Because we have to fight Iron Tomb in 3.7, because he's the final boss. But if we fight Lygas in 3.5, who do we fight in 3.6? That's my question. Who knows? They could probably summon some random antagonist out of nowhere. But at this moment, really, really, really horrific, and I think it really sold the journey of suffering that we were about to embark on. Most of this is good stuff. I like the reveal that Cyrene was actually a part of the original cycle. The fact that she was a Chrysos heir, that she was there from the beginning, that was cool. more Liga stuff. Seeing the end of the first cycle before Cyrene and Phainon make their way towards the Vortex of Genesis is really cool because we see the scepter here. And at this point, I think all of us kind of know, what the deal of the Flame Reaver is. So this was cool. And I think the last moment I would like to talk about, well, actually, it's the last moment that I would like to talk about. But there's a couple of things that I would like to talk about before we get there. The first one being this. I love the fact that we got to see various versions of the eternal recurrence cycle. And this one is my favorite. Aglaya's is my favorite because just the simple fact that Aglaya made it to the end is really cool. Like, she had resigned herself to the fate that she would die before the Flame Chase journey was over. And to me, that's really sad. To me, the fact that Aglaya resigned herself to the fact that she would never see the fruit of her efforts come to fruition. Like, no one, even Phainon, I would argue, in the cycle, no one contributed more to the Flame Chase journey besides Aglaya. She led them for such a long period of time and kept the last bastion of humanity safe, almost single-handedly. Like, the fact that Aglaya would never get to see the end to me was always really sad. So to me, seeing that in at least one of the cycles she got to see the end, even if she had to sacrifice herself at the very end, I think that was really cool. I think she was really fulfilled. So yeah, seeing Phainon go through various cycles and be at the end with various of his friends, that was really cool. And then the second thing I would like to talk about before the end, actually the third thing, because I just realized something else. Hycelin's voice is so good. I love her voice. It's got such like a deep, but yet like it really feel honestly, this is gonna sound really cringe, but Hycelin's voice reminds me of the ocean. Powerful, deep, but also very steady.
Near her. Keep 5 paces distance until the Imperator allows otherwise.
It's such a good voice. They chose her voice actor so perfectly. And then the second thing that I would like to talk about before we talk about the last thing is this shit right here. Hold on. We're almost there. Right here. This moment where Kaslana basically fully like resigns himself to who he is, an agent of destruction, after going through and having to fight like various versions of his friends in Titan form, is soul crushing. And Joshua Waters again, just growling and going lower than he's ever gone before, is so just I got goosebumps during this scene. And each one of the boss fights is very emotionally taxing. Hyacinth, I think, was the one that affected me the most, seeing how much in pain she was. Because look at her eyes. Hold on. I'm trying to find... Okay, Hyacinth, please give me your eyes open. Her eyes don't have the same shine they've had before. She is on her last, like, shred of sanity. She is going to be corrupted by the Black Tide soon, very soon, and basically become Aquila and a corrupted version of Aquila. But even then, she is worried about who? Not herself, Phainon or Kaslana. She sympathizes with them. She recognizes the pain he's been through. She knows how much he's suffering, and despite her own self going through a lot of pain, she is still fully focused on Phainon. Goes to show just how kind and caring she is, because man, she must have been going through a lot, and to be focused on Phainon and not herself is a lot. So yeah, this whole sequence is really, really sad and really well done. The Castress and the Mighty conversations too, very powerful as well. And to end off our discussion, well, first let me look at chat. Steve-O, it could be first phase in 3.5, he retreats and then full fight in 3.6. That could be it for sure. Sage, how do you want the Iron Tomb boss to be? Simulation creations or some creepy looking Kaslana? No, I want him to be I want Iron Tomb to be this the portrait. Come on. Where is it? This. This is what I want Iron Tomb to be. I think to me, to make a boss fight epic, you want them to be large and imposing. Like think about all the best boss fights we've had in Star Rail. Sunday, this giant almost automatron, right? Kool-Aid was like this giant wolf, right? Who had essentially merged with Fei Xiao. Even Fantilia, right? Fantilia, this almost ambrosial, like plant-like giant. And Cocolia is the smallest, right? Cocolia was mostly human-sized, but she had this giant robot behind her, who eventually became our ally, obviously. But yeah, Star Rail bosses, at least the very best ones, they're always large and imposing. So I think Iron Tim should look like this. He should look like a giant robot that is basically just a Lord Ravager. We already have a creepy looking Kaslana. It was the Flame Reaver. If I understand correctly, Aglaya led since the fall of Seridra. Yes, she led for, I think it was around 700 years, 800 years, something like that. Because Seridra fell 1,000 years ago, I think. So Aglaya led for more so than anyone. And she was a demigod that entire time. Think about that. The scene of the birth of Flame Reaver. I'm really interested to see how Trailblazer saves Ides Elysiae. Yeah, I'm interested to see that too, because obviously I don't think they would destroy Ides Elysiae. That would be too much suffering at that point. There's a limit to how much sadness in a story you can have until it becomes redundant and inconsequential. So I think Ides Elysiae is going to be saved, and who knows how the Trailblazer is going to do it. The Trailblazer now has admin privileges. That is true. That is true. Maybe he uses his admin privileges. You know what would be really cool, Sage? What if Ides Elysiae, the people of Ides Elysiae, still get corrupted? They still turn into the Black Tide, but the Trailblazer uses his admin privileges to heal them. That'd be pretty cool. Like, it'd also be a good way to have Cyrene be very vulnerable. Because, like, she, like, watches her loved ones turn into the Black Tide, starts to despair, the Trailblazer uses his newfound admin power to heal them. I think that'd be a pretty cool moment, don't you think? Or maybe he just, or stops them in a stasis. I think if he were to stop them in a stasis, Cyrene would still be like really distraught. I think if the Trailblazer were to heal them, it would be a more impactful moment of hope, right? Like if he were to basically revert the corruption of the Black Tide, I think it would be, for us, the player, it would be such a powerful moment of, we have hope. We can do this. But the last thing I would like to talk about before we end the stream is one of my favorite moments in 3.4. A very charming moment from what is going to be my favorite Amphorius character, most likely. Cyrene's revelation and her basically argument against Lygus, and how she has been seeing the power of the remembrance and visions of Fully through Ornyx, because Fully is affecting Amphorius through time, and how she is refuting Lygus's arguments over and over and over again. And you can tell he's panicking. You can tell he's upset, that he's anxious. Especially because Lygus knows the power and influence Phainon has. If Phainon chooses to trust Cyrene here, he is going to be a major headache for Lygus. So Lygus is like, shut the fuck up, Cyrene, shut the fuck up. Let me manipulate Phainon the way I want to. This is why he gets so frustrated here. And this is where we're going to end. This is one of my favorite moments.
A little courage and determination. Just kidding. The answer is pretty simple. But we're
Not.
gonna tell ya.
I love this girl. I love her so much. Look at her. Look at this glorious Honkai Star Rail character. She is so cute. She is so charming and charismatic. No, I want the wink. Oh, hold on. She just looks insane with the eye kind of open. Elysia, you're back. Elysia's back, everyone. But she's her own character. Cyrene is her own character, and I love her just as much. And that's, I think, how we're gonna end the stream. Well, let me read through chat. Sage, or they learn to reverse the black tide due to the hero within. That too. I didn't talk a lot about the hero within because I don't think he's going to be that impactful until 3.5. But I think he's going to have a big impact at 3.5. I know fans want Polka to end Lygus and Iron Tomb, but I'm pretty sure she'd end any chance of saving Kasana and Amphorius. I agree, Sage. I do not want Polka to step in because I think she would just completely get rid of everything related to Amphorius. So all of our loving Chrysos heirs, Phainon, Cyrene, everyone, she'd be like, nope, you're too much of a threat. I'm killing you all. So, yeah. I think it's too early to bring Polka into the story of Star Rail. Polka is one of the most massive figures in Star Rail lore that we ever have. Like, when you think about the most influential figures in Star Rail lore, it's the Eons at the top, right? Because they're gods. But then it's like Rupert, Polka, right? Like she's right there. She is like the tier right below the Eons. So, yeah, too early to bring her into the story, I think. But if they're going to do so, I hope that she only kills Lygus. Only Lygus. I want Iron Tomb to be defeated by us and Phainon and everyone in Amphorius. Iron Tomb should be defeated by the culminated efforts of everyone who has been trying to defeat him up till now. Lygus, he can be ended by anyone. So, all right. Well, amazing stream. Ended up being a bit longer than I anticipated, but Sage and Stevo, thank you so much for joining in with me. And hey, Corona. Sorry, I didn't open up users in chat. Nice to see you here with me, and obviously what the fuck as well. You know I love you. But the stream was really fun because you guys were in here, and I hope you guys come back. Corona, hope you come back as well. And in terms of when the next stream will be, it's going to be fairly soon. It's not going to be tomorrow. I'm going to take tomorrow off, but I do want to get to the As I've Written stream fairly soon, and that's what it's going to be. So in the next stream, we will be reading through As I've Written. We're going to be reading through pretty much all of the Saga of Heroes portion, and also the brand new logs that we got from 3.4 as well. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully we can get some new information from that. And we're also probably going to take a look at any theory crafting that we might be able to get from As I've Written as well. So, but yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope As I've Written is really juicy. Can't wait. Glad to hear it. Really excited. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to see you guys next time, and I wish you a fantastic rest of your weekend. Be safe, guys.